welcome back to my channel. I'm Shelly, and today what I'm going to be doing is I am going to be trying to figure out a little bit more about my own reading. And I got this idea from Kayla at Books and Lala. She's got a huge channel out there, and she recently did a video and she got the idea from another booktuber, and it's called a 5-star audit. Now, if you have followed my channel for any length of time, I don't star my books. And so let me go back a little bit. I'm getting lost in my own thoughts. So what Kayla did was she pulled up all of the 5-star books, all of the books she had ever rated 5 stars, and she was trying to see what themes, what things those books had in common. And she was able to learn a little bit more about herself as a reader. And I wanted to do something similar. So for me, I think I'm going to be more investigating what some common themes between my favorite books. So I'm actually going to start screen recording my computer, which is right here. I'm also going to be getting ready today because I thought this is a thoughtful video. I haven't premeditated any of my decisions about where I'm going to be putting books or any of the categories. I've thought a little bit about it, but every time I start to get sucked into those thoughts of like, what do those books have in common? Is there a theme I gravitate towards? When those questions start to pop up and I start to connect those pieces, I tell myself to stop because I wanted to do it with you all, like this processing. So I'm gonna start recording my screen, and I'm also going to be getting ready today because getting ready often gives me like this pause where I'm thinking, and so I thought the two would really work well together. So that was really quite the doozy of an introduction. But if you are new here, then hi, and if you like thoughtful videos, thoughtful content about books and reading, then I would really encourage you to subscribe. Now let's go ahead and get into the meat of this video. So how did I generate this list? All of the books that you see on the screen. However, I end up editing this. So how did I generate this list here? Well, I went through my reading log and I just started picking out books that sparked joy, that made me feel excited. I didn't really organize it in a certain way. So there are books here, there, and everywhere that I've read. Oh, some of them are quite old. Like I read them a long time ago, but they still they still jump out in my memory as books that were really great. And so I was just looking for books that, made me feel good. So that's what I have on the screen. And I thought I would come up with 4 themes that maybe I gravitate towards, or 4 categories that I might gravitate towards, that are new to me, that are like discoveries for me. So hopefully that gives you some context. And of course you can do this as well. If you do end up doing this activity and you investigate your own reading, I would love to know what you ended up coming up with, because that would be fascinating. So, okay, I'm going to put some bass on, as I'm trying to do. I'm going to fall silent, put some base makeup on, and then maybe I will come back with my first category that I see. I thought of a relatively concise category that fits quite a few books. So it is the coming of age story, particularly about females and the female experience coming into themselves and growing up. And so here's what I have for this. So I have, let me think, I had a whole bunch. Okay, I have The Story of a New Name. Let me actually title this first. All right, so first off, I was thinking that we have The Story of a New Name and My Brilliant Friend, which are a part of the same series. I also have Jane Eyre. I'm going to size them down in just a moment. And there was another one, Their Eyes Were Watching God, because it's really about Janie growing up and finding herself through the different relationships she's had and how how she learns through those relationships, and oh, it's so good. Let me think, what else? Coming of age stories. Oh, Memoirs of a Geisha is another female coming of age story. And could we say Middlemarch? I'm not going to put it in there. I think that would be better for a different category. You could also say The Time Traveler's Wife. But it's been such a long time since I've read that novel. I don't know, or even Actress. But again, I think it more focuses on, Actress by Anne Enright focuses more on the relationship that you have the main character who is looking back on her relationship with her mother and contextualizing it. So maybe less so with that one. Let me think. Anything else that would fit? You could say these Jane Austen novels, but we're just going to stick with that. Let me move her up. Okay, so the female coming of age story. I didn't realize that I gravitated and I really, really liked books about that experience. I knew I liked coming of age stories, and I knew I liked stories that focused on the female experience, but I didn't know that I liked books that went together in that way. Okay, so I'm going to again fall silent. Maybe I'll put on some colored makeup, some color cosmetics, and then we will resume when I come up with another category. I probably should have only included one Hilary Mantel book because I'm clumping them all together. So I think my next one is going to be an unreliable narrator with quite the personality. And with that, we also get deep insight into that person. So the story is told through one voice, and we are learning a lot about them and the way that they perceive the world. And through that, getting to know like their insides, the innards. I don't know how to title that. So let me think about it. I think we could do like the extremely unreliable narrator with personality, the schnazzy, the schnazzy unreliable narrator. Let me think. Maybe I'll just put it oh so unreliable, and then we will know, you and I will know what that means. So here we go. Let me put that somewhere, and then we will title it. Let's think. Okay. All right. So I was thinking, of course, all of Hilary Mantel's Wolf Hall books, the whole Thomas Cromwell series, because in that, Thomas Cromwell really, you're getting the whole story from his perspective, from what he perceives, from how he is processing King Henry VIII and what's going on with Anne Boleyn and other wives. And you're watching him work the pieces in a lot of ways, and I really love that. We also have Burr by Gore Vidal, which was just, it was one of those books that I picked up because my husband had read it on the Kindle, and it was just like so funny. He's just, oh gosh, Burr himself is just not, he's such a liar in the book, and you know it, and he's like, I'm just telling the truth this whole time, and it's just a delightful novel. Though one of my friends said that Gore Vidal will rot my brain, but that's okay. Maybe I want brain rot. I also was thinking Lucy by the Sea and O. William, because that is Lucy Barton telling her story. O. William Lucy is telling her story about her ex-husband and their marriage and what went wrong, but in some ways what was right about it. And just what that relationship ended up meaning to her and who she was in that relationship. And then Lucy by the Sea, we also get, Lucy Strout. She's goes from New York to a more rural area. I think she's in Maine, not totally sure. And she's reconnecting with William because of the pandemic. So she's reconnecting with her ex-husband through circumstances that were spurred on by the pandemic. And then I was also thinking An Unnecessary Woman by Rabih Alamende, who is, he tells this, he's the author, but the main character is Aaliyah, and she's telling her story as a woman living her life in, she's telling her story about her life in Beirut and what it means to be a woman living in Beirut, and it's about agency, but you get her story and her inner thoughts and inner workings, which is, oh, I love that book. It was my favorite book of 2021. I loved it so much. I loved it so much. Okay, are we gonna get any others? I think that's it for the oh so unreliable narrator, really. Itchy nose, itchy nose. Okay, let me see if I can shrink these down so they can fit in the same panel. Let me finish up some eye makeup and then I will continue to think about another category. Okay, so I'm thinking that this next category doesn't have a ton of books in it, but it has enough that it counts as a category. And I think I know my last category as well. And it is, so this one that I am talking about, it's really based around the Iliad. And with the Iliad, there is something that clicked with me when I read it a little over a year ago. That, was it a year ago? Anyways, that there, with the Iliad, there is this really long exposition. There's a lot of world building, a lot of getting to know what's going on and what's happening and why it's happening. And then suddenly there's this moment where the plot takes off and all of that world building really makes sense, because as you are really getting to the climax and the falling action and the resolution, there is like this excitement because you're so invested, because the author did such a good job building that world for you. And so I see, I think three books like this, possibly four, but we have the Iliad. So I don't know what, so maybe like a slow beginning and a quick finish or something. I don't know. The Luminaries is like that. It's more of a structure thing. It's like this really luscious, lovely, incredible, and really slow moving world building. I think Wolf Hall is like this as well. But so we have the Iliad, the Luminaries, A Little Life. Takes a little while for Hanya Yanagihara to actually it took a little while for me to realize that Jude was the main character. She really focuses on the four friends. A Little Life is about four friends throughout their lives, but eventually it focuses in on Jude and what his very tragic background was like, and the way he, why he is the way that he is. But there is this kind of long beginning section where you're really trying to understand who these four friends are and what they mean to one another. And then the last one that I thought of was, where is it at? I had it in my mind. Oh, Middlemarch. Takes a little while to get into what George Eliot is trying to do and why she's trying to do it. So I don't know what I'm going to say. Maybe we'll say the epic world building or something like that. Maybe we'll say Off to a Slow Start. That would be good. Oh, I only have one category left, and so let me finish getting ready. All right, I think I'm done with my makeup, and my last category, which I think will give me the most bang for my buck, to be honest with you, and it is going to be, you ready? I'm like, well, I'm not like, I think I knew this already, but it's nice to put it in words so I can articulate it to myself. It is, I really love a literary love story. I like a book that is written, and it's written in a way that's very beautiful, and that is just, so beautiful, like just so gorgeously done. There's something a little juicy about it when it comes to the language, the use of language, the thoughts that the thought trails that we are being taken down as a reader. But I also like it when there is a love story at the beginning or at the center, because I am a hopeless romantic. I just am. And so if I were to kind of categorize a bunch of these, it would be Young Mungo, by Douglas Stewart, Persuasion by Jane Austen, The Age of Innocence by Edith Wharton. Oh, gracious me. Then we also have The Time Traveler's Wife and The House of Mirth. Somewhere, let me move her above. Okay, there we go. And Pride and Prejudice. I think that's it. So let me move her above as well. All right, okay. All right, so let me just recap. All right, so the ones that I have left over are To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf, Gilead, The Hobbit, M, Son of the Century, Actress, Piranesi. I think maybe I could have put Piranesi under Oh So Unreliable, but I don't know. All right. To Kill a Mockingbird and Infinite Jest. That's what I had left over. And yeah, okay, so let me think. So we have, to kind of recap, we have the female coming of age story, which I think I knew maybe deep down that I did like those stories, but I didn't know how much I really gravitated towards them and how like well they ranked in my own memory, you know? Then we have Oh So Unreliable. This is probably the biggest shock of the group because I don't think I could have told anybody that I really like an unreliable narrator until I sat down and thought about it. And, you know, just a narrator that has a very particular point of view and expresses it in the novel. And so I guess I really like those because some of my favorite novels of all time are in this category. Primarily the Wolf Hall books and An Unnecessary Woman. Though I really enjoyed the Lucy Strout series. I mean, I think of that series with such fondness. And a book that I always, when I see it on my read list, when I go back and I like think about the books that I read, when I think about Burr by Gore Vidal, I'm always like, it makes me smile. It's one of those books that I really do think about and quite enjoy, like when I'm, you know, contemplating it. And then we have Off to a Slow Start, which oh man, this category is strong because, I love the 4 books that are here. A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara, tragic yet beautiful. I don't know if I could ever read it again because it's such a brutal book, but so good. I even remember the time of my life when I was reading it. Middlemarch by George Eliot, which I just finished. Love that book. The Iliad, which continues to just pop up in my memory as one of those books that was just incredible. And then The Luminaries, which again it's a unique book. It's a historical fiction murder mystery, which I wouldn't have said that I would like that. But it's got this really, really long, very particular, I think it's 360 pages, very structured and intentionally done exposition, which is super, it is a lot to read. And then as you keep going, the book really kind of hits its stride, and all of those, like that beginning section, which again I believe is about 360 pages, which again is very intentional. She's very intentional about it. It's so worth it. So worth it. And then A Literary Love Story. I think I could have told you this again before I started, that I do love a love story. And I would rather it be literary than like the romance, the books that are categorized as, you know, romance, like the pocket paperback romance books. I do like a literary love story, but I do love when like a love story is at the center of it. Like it makes my heart double beat. I think about Young Mungo, The Two Boys That Fall in Love, and just, oh, how good it is. The House of Mirth, you know, it's like, it's talking about love and what it means. In that book, Edith Wharton, she is, you know, really contemplating the female in society and how she's treated, and sort of this, you know, a bit of a tragic love story. Persuasion, this is the second chance romance. Like all second chance romances come from Persuasion by Jane Austen. The Age of Innocence, again, you have Edith Wharton questioning society and what society means for women and our roles in society and the consequences of that. Yeah, again, a really good one. Pride and Prejudice. You know, we all know Lizzie Bennet, Mr. Darcy, and just the hot mess that they are, and their introduction, which is just, it's one to remember. And then finally, The Time Traveler's Wife, which is just one of those fantastic, like, I didn't know I loved a love story until I read a Time Traveler's Wife, The Time Traveler's Wife. Like, I didn't even know that I liked love stories until I read that book, and then I was like, oh, this is what it's all about. This is the good stuff. Yeah, so I really like this. What a fun way to like think about my reading, especially with books I love. Let me know if you do this, what did you find out about your reading? Is there, or as you're watching me, maybe you contemplated what you like in a book and maybe you've made a discovery as well. Or perhaps you just articulated a category of reading that you already knew you loved, but you've, taken the time to articulate it to yourself. That would be really useful and interesting to read about in the comments down below. Yeah, but let me know. Would you like to see another one of these? Maybe books I don't like and what they have in common. That would be fascinating. Anyways, that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. And I will see you all in my next one. Bye.